Hello everyone, once again this is Ramirez with Tidewater Renaissance Fighting Arts, and this is a subscriber request or a comment that was under the review for a helmet. That helmet being my 15th century closed Sallet by Bareena Emporium, and their question was, how did you pad it? And in the comments I said, I'm not happy with what I did. I'm going to keep reworking on it, and I'm going to get you an answer. Now, a couple of things have happened since that review. For one, I told you that this was a little bit long, and it was. So one of my best friends owns a motorcycle shop. It's good to know people. And he actually cut it down so it isn't quite as long and doesn't hit over my nose. Now, when it comes to armor, especially helmets, you never want your helmet, especially in the face, making physical contact with you, with one exception, and that is a Japanese kabuto where you have a mempo that actually can rest on your face. I could show you, I have a very old one that I used to use that did actually rest on my face. But even then I put padding between the plate and my face. So let's just pop this on for a second. So now you can see it has a little more space on the nose. When I get it settled back in the back, it's actually perfectly fine. I have the space. So if someone hits that, it's not going to hit me. And that's really very, very important. Now let's get to the padding. The first thing I want to make a note of is that on the interior of the chin, I'm going to try to make sure you can see this, where my chin would be on the actual helmet itself. I know it's kind of hard to see. There is a pad that I put in, foam padding. Now, helmets either come with padding or they don't. You can't say, well, I bought an unpadded helmet and they really should have padded it. If you buy a helmet with padding, like my Armor Street one, it comes with padding. If not, you got to pad it. I'll talk a little about the foam in a second. On the interior of the helmet, you'll see a bunch of little squares and circles. These are military helmet padding. I have them Velcroed in. So really they're just a pad. And you can see I have little Velcro spots in there. Try to lift this up so you can see it. But right there you'll see those little dots. And what I use those to put the pad and have it stick in. Now you can get these easily on Amazon. You can get higher grade, lower grade ones. Obviously I would say get the best ones you can afford. But you'll notice that circle in the center. Now that's a pad to help protect the top of your head. And this is something I want to make sure you know about. Don't pad your helmet so that your head rests on this. Okay, that's actually really important. Whether or not you're doing a hard hat, like for construction or anything, one of the things you'll notice is that you never want your head touching the pad or the metal that's on top here, or the plastic if it was like a worksite helmet. You want it to kind of be around the crown of your head, and this pad is just in case someone hits me hard enough that my head doesn't hit the metal at the top. That's really very, very important. You want your support to be around your crown. I don't care how you pad your helmet, that's a really, really important thing, because you get hit one poleaxe time on top of the head, you may be out for the count. So make sure whatever you do that it more or less fits around the crown of your head, that it's not resting flat on your head. As I said, I don't care what method you use, this is a general rule of thumb. Now, if you look, the pads that are kind of surrounding that circle, I did add towards the front a little bit of foam padding, and then I put those in to kind of push the helmet away from the front of my head. It also helped it fit better. Some people, depending on your helmet, its design, you may be putting it on the back, you may be putting it all the way around, but you want to have it so that your top of your head is not in contact, or the padding that's on there is not directly in contact with your head. In more historical versions, you'll see a cloth padding, And there will oftentimes be a space, and you can kind of pull a string to tighten that crown for the exact same reason. You don't want the top of your head being in contact with that. That means anything hits is going to translate directly to the top of your head, your neck, your spine. You're going to have issues. I did pat it kind of all the way around to make sure that I was getting good coverage. And let me just put this down for a second. So we talk about materials. I'll put my hat back on. So that was how I padded it. As I said, if you have that exact same helmet, I put a little bit of foam padding on the front. Then I put the little sticky helmet pads in there. You can get those in a number of sites. One thing I did rely on that I found another YouTube video was incredibly helpful with is some pads have glue preset on them. These little guys are amazing. They're little Velcro circles, so they have one soft fuzzy side and one hook side. And the reason they have that white backing is they have a sticky on that. And you stick these into your helm, you stick these on the pad, and all of a sudden you can just Velcro them together. I found that with the military helmet pads, if I just put the hook side on the interior of the helmet, that would attach directly to the foam pads. So that saved me a lot of time. I didn't even have to use the other side. When it comes to foam padding, and this is something I just got on Amazon. I think this is the 1/2 inch squares. Yes, these are 1/2 inch squares of foam padding. This is what I used for that chin. I just cut a piece of it, placed it on the armor, pulled this sticky backing off there, stuck it on there, done. With the front, same idea. I found the size, I cut it down to size, took the sticky end, peeled that back, stuck it in, and then I put the Velcro dots on here for the military helmet padding. So once again, it's not necessarily an expensive process, but you do need to make sure. I got 1/2 inch closed cell foam. The military pads kind of come as a set, so you get X amount of little square or little rectangles. You get that circular one for the top. But the main thing is, when you pad your helmet, make sure that it's not resting, as I said, directly on the top of your head. It should more or less rest on your crown with a little bit of space between the helmet top and the at your actually where your head starts. If you get ones that are historical or that have already come with the padded liner, that's fine. Another thing to avoid, you'll notice that I was wearing this little thing, and this is really to protect what little hair I have left. But this has no real protective quality other than it keeps my hair from being caught on the Velcro or getting stuck in the helmet. This is a padded liner. This is actually a coif. It used to have little ties here. I cut them out. In the old version of how I padded this was used in conjunction, important, in conjunction with padding my helmet to fill out the space. So I did have this as kind of the last layer, and what it was I actually Velcroed it into the helmet. With the way I repadded it, I don't need this anymore, but I do want to make a very important point. You can't take an unpadded helmet, throw this on your head, put on a helmet, and be good to go if you're doing any type of combat sports. Now, if you're just dressing up, you're just cosplaying, that's perfectly fine. A couple of reasons for this. Unless this fits perfectly and your helmet fits like completely tight, you're going to have a bell effect. You're the clapper, the thing on the inside of the bell, and when anything hits the helmet, it's going to ring, and you're going to be the person being deafened on the inside. Padding should secure the helmet to your head. I'm not saying it has to be crushingly tight, but you should feel a certain degree of snugness when you put your helmet on. If you're putting your helmet on and it's really loose and moving around, not good. As I said, you can use this as part of that system. So if after padding it, it's still a little loose, you could take a padded coif like this, put it on your head, and let that fill out the space. on a helmet, but you definitely can't just use this as your end-all be-all on an unpadded helmet. For a couple of reasons. Number one, what I also talked about. If a helmet's resting directly on your head and this is all you have, it's not going to work. And you can look at a firefighter helmet. You can look at a construction site helmet. All of them, it will fit around the crown, and you won't have the plastic, if it was a construction helmet, on your head. You won't ever have direct contact with that. That is extraordinarily dangerous, and especially in the sports and activities that we do, I want to really tell you, don't do that. Even great helms, if you look at those huge, 12th, 13th century great helms, they're so big they rest on your shoulders. Same thing is true for a great bassinet. It rests here, and what it does is if anything hits you up here, it's the pressure here that stops it from hurting you on the inside. So if you have a great helm, something like that, it should be on your shoulders. It should not be like kind of up here, and definitely your head should not be the thing, because otherwise when you hit it, whatever hits the metal hits whatever padding you have, and then it's directly transferred to your skull. So you really should not have something directly resting on the top of your head. It should distribute to the crown. That'll give it a little bit of compression. That's the way a hard hat works. That's the way your helmets should work. And I'm only saying this because I saw a video, I'm not going to link it or anything, where someone's like, oh yeah, you just pop this on, pop your helmet on, you're good to go. And you're really, really not. If you need padding, if anything's going to strike you, if any force can hit your face, you need padding to prevent that. So as I said, I have a chin padding there. That stops the helmet from physically being able to touch my face. As far as what I used material-wise, this is a non-period, obviously, way to do it, but closed-cell foam. I used a 1/2 inch. I will link a video to someone who their video helped me in padding this, so I will link that video to this one. I will also link the video for the review of this helmet if you're curious about the helmet. These are just little Velcro circles. They help you. They're probably going to make life easier when you need to re-pad things, because those foam pads, if you sweat, it's eventually going to break down the foam. You're going to need to replace it, and rather than having to peel off a bunch of glue, this means all you have to do is pull back the Velcro and just replace. So these are also amazingly useful, and they were useful in my process for padding my helmet. So once again, I'm Ramirez with Tidewater Renaissance Fighting Arts. I hope that you found this helpful. For the person who did ask, how did I pad that helm? I hope that answers some questions. If you have additional questions, feel free to ask them below in the comments section, and I will see you in the next video.